Welcome to 49ers Coast to Coast. We're your hosts, Grant Cohn, West Coast, Jason Aponte, East Coast. I saw Jason, met him face to face for about 30 seconds in Costa Mesa. It was glorious, man. Doves flew through the air, rainbows were. It was just the heavens parted. It was great.
And you were so far away that like when I ran towards you, it's almost like Fontaine, right? Like just a slow motion, type of thing.
It was like
also,
Rocky 4 or whatever,
exactly.
Rocky 3. Yeah, exactly.
Also, like I was telling you, man, you got stopped so many times in SoFi who said, people who were like, man, where's Grant at? Seeing you on the show and everything, man. Grant's big time out here, man. He got a lot of clout.
You got a lot of clout. Hey, Niner fans just have good taste. Anyway, that's enough of us tooting our own horn. Hey, so camp is over. 19 days in the books. Final preseason game coming up. Let's give some awards out. Starting with the winners. Biggest winners at camp. Who you got?
Oh, man. I mean, it's really crazy to think that there's a player that I'm about to name that's somebody who we just wrote off as a depth piece before he showed up. But the first day that I was there at camp, Trent Sherfield.
Oh, yeah.
Biggest winner. Mohamed Sanu did come out of the gates storming as a wide receiver 3. Honestly, at this point, it's Trent Sherfield, and he's jumped him. And it happened pretty gradually. Mohamed Sanu started off with a bang, but Trent Sherfield, no matter who it was, and people have been asking me how much this has to do with Trey Lance. Trey Lance was throwing to him. So Sudfeld was throwing to him. Jimmy Garoppolo was throwing to him. The guy was just open. Trent Sherfield, biggest winner, locked to make this roster. Wide receiver 3 right now, in my opinion.
That's a good one. I like that. How about D Ford?
I think 49er fans are the winner for that.
I mean, we had him in the grave, right? We were like putting dirt on his grave, and he just busted out like Uma Thurman and Kill Bill with just the little tiny punches. All of a sudden, he looks great. He's in terrific shape. He had no setbacks. I mean, they managed him. They didn't like throw him in all the time, but he was basically healthy and practicing every day. And when they did let him in the 11-on-11s, he looked fantastic. What a surprise! What a winner!
So that's what's funny. It's funny because with D Ford, we were just saying, hey man, if he plays even one snap, that's more than what you should get from him and what you should be surprised. No, not only was he on the field, this isn't just like a hey, D Ford is here. D Ford was the most dominant guy on this defensive line, and this defensive line has a lot of guys that were dominant. Got a lot of chance to watch them in the Chargers joint practices, and he was dominant. But it wasn't just him. But yes, man, this D Ford thing is an interesting development. It takes a lot to admit that you were wrong, and I'm wrong. And I had him pegged as a guy who wasn't going to ever play again, let alone be impactful like this.
He was like the Mike Tyson thing. I broke my back.
Spinal.
I was like, I don't know if he's ever going to play again, but he looks good.
He looks
had
great.
The spinal. Yeah, no, he's definitely one of the. He looks good. But the thing, like, Sherfield looks like a quality number 3. If D Ford can be D Ford from 2018. This team is definitely a Super Bowl contender, no matter which quarterback they decide to play, or if they try to go with both. I got more like honorable mentions though, for the sake of it.
Yeah, for sure. That's not just
Wilson held it down at strong safety every single day, started every single day, didn't give up any big plays. I'm not saying he's great, but he was solid in camp, and they needed someone to be solid. Diamador.
Yep.
Kentavious Street.
Street, Kevin Givens,
Arden Key,
Jordan Willis.
Jordan Willis.
So yes. I don't know what it is about what Chris Kosari can do with these guys on defense, but he looks like a revitalized player. And credit the 49ers organization for taking shots on high spark score guys. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I have a theory. I think it's like these guys are super sparked up. They're really good athletes, but maybe they get off the snap slow. And I think he makes such an emphasis of like, get off the ball on time and use your athleticism. And I think he just gets guys synced up with the snap. It seems kind of obvious and basic, but it seems like it goes a long way.
And the defensive line, again, it may not reach the heights of 2019 because it's hard to be as top-heavy as Buckner, Armstead, Ford, and Bosa. But they're deeper right now than they ever were in 2019. Like, the 49ers are going to have a really interesting conversation with themselves about what happens when Mo Hurst comes back and when Jordan Willis gets off of his suspension, because there's going to be somebody on this roster that gets cut who's a very quality player. And that's the stuff that's going to be interesting to see going forward.
I got one more winner from camp. Jonas Griffith.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, linebacker, big, long, kind of like a poor man's Fred Warner. I like him. Mm-hmm. I like him a lot.
The ball was finding him, and whether he intercepted it or not, he was around the ball, and that's all you can really ask for. Another one, and it happened towards the later in camp, Hufanga. I mean,
yes.
Hufanga in the Chiefs game was
Good
allowed
call.
to play a bunch of single high. They trust him clearly.
Yes,
and I hate to keep throwing this comparison around, but in that Chargers game, he's at the line of scrimmage showing as a rusher, breaks through the line for a tackle for loss. The 49ers should be really excited about their secondary depth, and that's something that I was super afraid about. But Lenore has stepped up, and so has Hufanga. So they seem to be in good shape going into the season.
The thing that you learn with Hufanga, which I think is super interesting, is like compare him to Tavarius Moore. He's the anti-Tavarius Moore. He's all instincts, not no athleticism, but he's plus instincts minus athleticism. Moore is the other way around. And like you put a guy like Moore, you think he's perfect for single high. But he doesn't really make plays playing that position. Hufanga, I've seen him do it in camp. And it's like, if you remember back in the day, Merton Hanks back in center field, he wasn't fast. He was getting those 6-7 picks a year on instincts. And I think it's interesting to see what a guy who runs like probably a 4.6 can do in center field if he has instincts.
And another thing is, no, you're right. And another thing is that Hufanga outworks everybody. Yeah. First guy on the field, last one off. I know that sounds like a cliche and it's corny, but it's true. I mean, the guy, we would get to practice an hour early to try to beat people. Hufanga was already out there most of the time. So, I mean, that
means a lot to him.
Speak to his work ethic. Yep.
And he, since he was in college, he was reaching out to Troy Polamalu for extra work. I mean, that's a guy who seems to me like a guy who wants to be great.
Yep.
That's Nate important. Dogg. Hey, Nate Dogg, appreciate you. Hey. Says, what happened to Mostert's back? I heard he's hurt. Now he was back today.
He practiced today. Yeah.
Yeah, Cam said he saw him leave yesterday, but he was back today.
His wife refuted that really quick on Instagram about, good for her. My husband came home and he said his back was fine.
Good for him. Good for her. Good for him. And to make a point of it, he didn't wear his knee brace today, which he's been wearing all offseason just as a caution. I feel like I so feel where he's coming from, Verrett's coming from, Jimmy Ward. Once you get that injury prone label, like that's all, like you're written off, and that's all people say about you, and that's every question you get. And it's like, hold on, I'm not injured. Wait a second, can we just hold off? Like, don't put me in the grave just yet. Like, don't kill Bill me just yet. I feel that.
And I mean, what's up with this team and the knee braces and whether we have knee brace watch almost every time that somebody steps on the field.
Oh my God.
If
Jimmy's wearing knee brace week 1 and he's playing, man, that's a big story. Todd99 says, did Jimmy laughing show his arrogance or confidence? He needs to earn it every day, but already thinks he's QB1. Humble yourself, James or Kyle will. Interesting question. How'd you take his response to that question? I hadn't thought of it that way.
That he's going to start. And I think, listen, what should be done and what will be done are two different things. So don't ask me what I think should be done because it doesn't matter what should be done. What Kyle's going to do is start Jimmy Garoppolo week 1. I don't know who this helps, who needs to hear this, but that's where they're going with this, honestly. And he, it seems like the way that Jimmy Garoppolo's been operating in the offseason, he's been a little bit more candid. So that smile and smirk was like, I like where I'm at right now. Everything's fine. And, that really spoke volumes to me. But it was apparent, and I guess we'll get into the quarterback thing in a little bit, but it was apparent to me that week 1 Detroit under center, Jimmy Garoppolo. Whatever should be done is one thing. Whatever will be done is a whole other thing. So,
I mean, I feel like whatever. They can say whatever they want. They can give Jimmy Garoppolo the start and give him the first snap on the field. They're going with 2 quarterbacks week 1.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a committee, and I can't freaking wait for that. So I think really what's more important is who finishes that game, not who starts it. But if Jimmy's happy that he's starting, that's cool. But like, dude, let's see you finish it.
Right, and if Jimmy starts week 1, doesn't mean that he's going to be there week 18. So
or
again,
week 2.
It looks like this thing's going to be week to week, and I can't wait to see how this is going to play out.
Quarter to quarter. We're going to talk about it. Chris says Hufanga should be an honorable mention for sure. Oh, no doubt. For sure. We got him. I think there's a couple more, and then we'll get on to the loser time. Biggest losers of camp.
Richie James.
That's my first guy I have right here. Yep.
I
think he played his way off the team.
Yeah, it's weird, right? So again, with Richie James, when we talked about going into training camp, who was going to be on the bubble, if you're not offering anything in the punt game because they were trying everybody else out instead of you, we were there, we saw with our own eyes that they were trying to give it to Ayuk. Everybody, even Mohamed Sanu was back there at some points, River Craycraft, those guys. But then you're dropping passes now with your limited opportunities. Why are you here? What are you doing here? And when Simba Webster in the Chiefs game, I believe he returned a kickoff to the 40-yard line. That's unheard of. It's literally unheard of. Every single drive that I've seen since 2019 starts at the 25. That's it. Every time. No further than that. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Richie James.
Definitely. All right, I got another one. Aaron Banks. Second round pick. Though.
So, can I push back on that a little?
Fair enough. Go ahead. Okay.
So the injury thing is, obviously what you're pointing to say.
Yeah. I'm not knocking him for getting injured. Yeah, right. That's fair.
So that, but it's the thing is I think that he had a little bit of tough time adjusting to the speed, and the injury doesn't help. So I'm gonna let me just say I'll withhold judgment on
that. That's fair. That's fair.
But you're absolutely right for putting him in this portion because again, second round pick, we all kind of just assumed, hey, Aaron Banks is gonna be the number one guy right here at right guard. Now, you thought you had a fallback plan with Brunskill, and right guard right now is my biggest concern on this team. Absolutely.
The next guy I was going to say was Brunskill.
Brunskill, yep, absolutely.
I like Brunskill. He's done some good things in games, but you just can't deny that his training camp was awful.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't either. And again, they want to have him as a Swiss Army knife to play all these other positions. Again, he's just not winning reps. Every time I was watching.
No, it's not just that. He's losing all the reps.
Yes.
And all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh my God, is that him again? And that's not even on McGlinchey or anything like that. So, I tried to hold out hope that, hey, Alex Mack being there could help him out maybe with some scheme, with calling out protections and things like that. But just didn't seem like he was winning any of his reps in any of the practices we're at.
Nope. I got another one. Colton McKivitz.
I mean,
somehow worse than Daniel Brunskill. That's how I would describe Colton. Better than Tom Compton, better than Tom, but worse than Daniel.
All right, that's fine, that's fair. But again, they have issues because they're drafting guys and now they're not panning out. Right? I have another one. Ambry Thomas. It's too high of a pick for him to not be off the bat. Listen, make all the excuses you want about, hey, he took the year off last year. Okay, fine. He was getting work by almost everybody. Any receiver that was on the other side of him. Deebo Samuel, who was incredible for many reps, was the best on the field.
It's true. Now the thing with Ambry is he played better today, and I can be kind of impressed with him sometimes, but I get the feeling that the refs at the Niners practices let a lot of contact go, because in games it's everything he does looks like a penalty, but on the practice field they let it go, and I'm like, well, I mean, I guess it's a PBU, but you mugged him. I don't know.
So those were my concerns with Ambry Thomas, right? I went to write an article about him, and I dug up all his college film, and I said, okay, I want to cherry pick his best game so I could make a puff piece and put it up. So he has an interception in the game and a bunch of PBUs, but he has a bunch of getting beat one-on-one and then just tackling the guy and just bringing him down.
Which you can do in college because you're supposed to. It's a 10-yard penalty.
Right. Yeah. It's not a spot foul, right? So, but my problem is that Michigan State doesn't have wide receivers that are whipping you. Now, if you really want to see him get whipped, watch the Notre Dame game and watch Chase Claypool whip him. That's an NFL wide receiver. And that's the issues that I had. So, again, it almost felt like the 49ers were looking around and just said, we need to draft the cornerback. Okay, this guy.
He's got high right speed,
Lenore is 2 rounds behind him, and he's much better than him. He was even in the slot today from what I've been hearing.
That's right. In the last couple of days. Okay, I got a couple of more, and I'm going to get progressively more negative.
Go ahead.
Mike McGlinchey. I'm trying to be nicer with him.
Go.
Here's my thing with Mike. Look, you hear days like, man, D Ford had 4 sacks today.
But it's against him.
Yeah, man, and everyone wants to be nice to Mike because he went through a lot last year, and he means well. But you decided to be a professional athlete. We got to keep it 100, dog. You're soft. I'm sorry.
I think
he's not playing. He could be any weight. Hey, Jason.
Right. I think that he's playing a little bit better than he did.
He is playing a little bit better, but come on.
Yeah, I know. And then again, it's really funny because Jordan, aka Splash Cousin, shout out to him, the biggest riser in camp right now.
Hell yeah.
But he made the comparison. I flew back Spirit Airlines from LA.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Spirit Airlines has a bad rap because there's some videos floating on the internet of the plane shaking and everything. And right, okay, so he made this comparison. Ooh. Mike McGlinchey is very much like Spirit Airlines. Okay. Spirit Airlines has a bad rap because of that one video, but overall, I took the plane and I was fine. I made it back solid, fine, So again, again, when he blows his blocks there in the biggest moments, and again, D Ford is really good. He is really good. So you would think that Mike McGlinchey going against guys as good as that would sharpen his skills. But it happens here and there. But I think that he's not as bad as people are saying. Again, I'm going to stick to that. But hey, I'm just reserving it for.
But I mean, like, I feel like we all want him to be good again, and I'm just saying, not yet. Hold on, I got more negativity for us. Hold on.
Well, one more thing about McGlinchey is that, you know, we were at the joint practices, right? And he was taken number 9 overall. There was a certain player that could have been taken that had a pick 6 in those joint practices that 49er fans are like, man, we could have had him. His name, Derwin James. So that's another thing to talk about. But hey, at the same time, Mike is looking a little bit better, and you just got to hope that when everything's intact, everything's going well, everything will be fine. So let's just see. I'm going to withhold that one.
I mean, I'm just knocking him for being himself. He's just not good in pass protection. I mean, it's not breaking news. It's not why. I mean, it's just crazy that they drafted like an old school right tackle, number 9, like the oldest of the old school. Also, his reputation was built off playing next to Quentin Nelson. But that's enough. I don't need to hold on. I got more negative. Let's move this to someone else. I gotta spread this around. Javon Kenlaw. Like, really? I like Javon Kenlaw. Hell of an athlete, good run defender. He needed some time in these one-on-one pass rush drills, and he didn't get a single rep all offseason. Bosa was in there the last couple of days. It doesn't mean that he's a bust. It doesn't mean that he's not good. It's just a total missed opportunity, and I still don't understand why. I mean, obviously, it's very physical and dangerous, and they're trying to not get it. Basically, it's clear that they're worried about his durability, and that's a dangerous drill. And he's healthy now, and that's the good news. But I would have liked to see him improve and do that drill because, frankly, he wasn't good in that drill last year, and I felt it translated to the games in terms of pass.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I hear what you're saying when it comes to that. I'm more of the proponent of, like, you know, when it comes to Ford, when it comes to guys that you're going to be relying on week 1, I don't care about training camp. Don't get them in camp. You know,
fair. But I just felt he needed it. He needed it to improve, but maybe I'm wrong. We'll see.
So what I'll point to is when he was in on 11 on 11s, Alex Mack was working him, and he was upset, very upset. Remember, they got into a little scuffle in that practice because Alex Mack, you know, Javon Kenlaw is a giant human being.
But Alex pros can work him because he's working on that. He's not quite a I'm not saying he's not a pro, but you know what I mean.
No, but he's trying to bull rush Alex Mack, and Alex Mack's ready for that. And Alex Mack was putting him on his back, and got frustrated, right? So that's the thing. Yeah, you're right about that. That's what I'm saying. He does need the reps.
Exactly. He needs the reps. Anyway, I got one. I got one more. Jimmy Garoppolo.
Wow.
Everyone wants to be nice about Jimmy. He threw 11 touchdown passes and 11 picks in 19 days. That's not good enough. It's not good. And people be like, oh, well, he was good to move the ball. But if you look at these one little subset of, man, he's getting paid 20. He's the 5th highest paid player in the league. And he's over here getting outperformed by a rookie who's inconsistent in his own right. Talented, but come on, Jimmy. That's the best you could do? I wasn't impressed.
Here's my thing. 2 things can be true. 2 things can absolutely be true. This was Jimmy Garoppolo's best training camp, and he underwhelmed. Both of them can be true. So here's the thing. Jimmy didn't do anything that is outside of what Jimmy does. Sure, he had a bomb touchdown in the joint practices to Travis Benjamin. Cool. That's fine. That was cute. We got that on video and everything as well. 7 on 7s. This is the one that sticks out of my mind immediately. The good Jimmy, bad Jimmy thing that I think you're the one who came up with. 7 on 7s. There's no pressure. None. Everybody's covered. He's doing your thing, and look, almost interception, drop.
We were there,
then the next play, literally over the middle, touchdown to George Kittle, and I'm just like, dude, this is so baffling. I don't get it. I don't understand why he's so up and down like this. But at the end of the day, what I walked away with training camp and being able to watch him so many times was Jimmy Garoppolo is who he is at this point, and that's it. His ceiling is maxed out. The guy he wants to get the ball.
That's the main point. That's the most important point. He's not improving. They gave him all the first team reps. He's not improving. He's maxed out. I just want to say real quick, I've seen all of his training camps, and I could be wrong, but I think it was his worst camp. And let me tell you why. I could be wrong. No one else has said it. Maybe it's a hot take, but the interception thing was a daily problem. It wasn't 5 picks in one day. It was 1 every day.
With a few drop.
Yeah. And then I guess what it all stems from to me, and it showed in that game against the Chargers, the lack of confidence. Early on in camp, they're like, yo, he's so much more confident, which tells you he was lacking confidence. And when they tell you why he looks good, they're like, well, he really commands the huddle. What I saw in the pocket against the Chargers was a guy who was very skittish, which to me is lacking confidence. And I think he was more confident 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I mean, I don't know where this is coming from.
I'll say this. That run that he had in the Chargers game was actually
nice.
really good.
That was nice.
That was really good.
Nice.
He felt the pressure and he moved and yeah, hey, look, good. The knee brace isn't on.
Seriously.
You're going to have to find ways to make things happen when it comes to that. So I just think that when I went into camp, I expected somebody who was going to elevate his game in the face of someone who is behind him. No matter what anybody says, it is a competition. It is Trey Lance. But he didn't. He just proved himself to be Jimmy Garoppolo at the end of this camp, and that's what was disappointing. There was no sort of change in philosophy. Everything was, okay, here, nope, cool, quick. That's it, done.
Because they were trying to speak into existence. It's a new Jimmy. He's improved.
Because
it's like in Beverly
at a
Hills
press
Cop.
conference.
It's a super Jimmy. Okay, and the only thing he's missing is a cape. Nah, just let it play out. It's been 3 days. Just let Jimmy be Jimmy. Nah, it's not super Jimmy.
Yeah.
Andrew says if Jimmy does start, how short is his leash?
The shortest. Very short. The shortest.
My prediction. We're gonna do some predictions. Here's a little teaser. If he does start, Trey will play in the first drive. Okay. If it extends past midfield, Trey will be in the game in the first drive. So it's short.
It's gonna
be short.
It's a short leash. It's a very short leash. I have one more loser. Before we
go ahead, please.
Okay. Jalen Hurts. At what point? Look, he practiced today and he practiced the day before. That's fine. Javon Jennings did not play this entire year the year before, and he just comes right off, and all of a sudden he's in games making plays in that big slot that where you're supposed to be. Like that's it. Like once Javon Jennings shows you that he can do what Jalen Hurts is doing, that you are no longer a necessity. And again, I hate to keep harping on this, but there's so many misses. You drafted Jalen Hurts in the 3rd round. And you could have had Terry McLaurin.
I know.
I'm tired of this. I'm so upset. And I'm never going to stop harping on this. The only thing that's worse than that, as far as draft pick goes, was drafting Mitch Wisnowski.
Oh.
That's it.
The thing about Hurd, he feels like I can't say what his motivations are, but he just seems like he tries to do the bare minimum. And anytime, like, he comes in for the last 2 days of camp and tries to make an impression, like, I don't know if it's enough, but I just don't get the sense from him that he's, like, super into playing football the way that like Trent Sherfield is.
Dude, we got so excited when I tweeted out Jalen Hurts made a catch in 11 on 11s. It was like confetti was thrown in the air. Think about how little that is. One catch in 11 on 11s. That's basically all this man has right now to his 49ers resume is 1 half of football against the Dallas Cowboys and 3 catches on 11 on 11s. Way to go, 3rd round pick. Nailed it.
And M says, Grant, what TF is going on with Kenlaw? Dude's weird. I don't know, man. I get the feeling that Kenlaw is a little up and down. Like people, you know how some people say like, "Hey, he's the same way at work every day." That's what I like about him. He's real consistent. I don't think that's Javon. I think there are days where he's having a good day and he loves it, and some days where he ain't. And I think he's just really young and he's working on the consistency aspect. I'm just saying.
The Alex Mack thing was very telling for me. He was flustered. And he was tired of getting beat because it's not just this year, because last camp he was going against Colton McKivitz, who you just listed as a loser. Yeah. And he was running bull rushes at him, and Colton McKivitz was stuffing him. So he's frustrated at this point right now. So I mean, look.
But hold on real quick. The way I read Kenlaw is a guy who's been able to just dominate any technique his whole life. Mm-hmm. And it's like, hey man, NFL.
It's the pros.
It's the pros. You got other great athletes who do have their technique. They're gonna make you look like a rookie, man, and that's why I wanted to see him in the one-on-ones in year 2. Yeah. But I'm not saying he didn't improve, but we just didn't get the form to see it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, Lucky Louis says, Grant, if the first half of the season is all quarterback committee, do you see success, more wins than losses? Nah, I don't. No, I don't think they really want that committee to last. Ideally, Lance takes his job. Like on Sunday. Ideally, he takes his job on Sunday. But if he doesn't, because honestly, he hasn't taken it yet. Jimmy's handing it to him, and Trey hasn't quite taken it yet. Although he's had nice plays. He could take it on Sunday. He could take it against the Raiders,
the
the Lions. He could take it against the Eagles. But You don't want to do this too long. No.
Well, I think the 49ers could win both of those games against the Lions and the Eagles with Nate Sudfeld. Probably. That's how much better they are.
Yeah.
But that's not something that Jimmy could struggle in both those games and they could win.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that doesn't mean that a quarterback move shouldn't be made or anything like that. So that's why it's like, okay, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to start week 1, but for how long? And that's the thing. His leash is super short.
Yeah. Javier says, what constitutes Jimmy being poor enough to be swapped with Lance?
Well, here it is. You ready? Both are missing high. One guy has legs. One guy has a better arm. One guy seems to bounce back when things are messed up. And don't point to me in 2019 about him bouncing back or whatever. That's different. Trey Lance had a struggle that entire beginning of that game with the Chargers. Guess what he did? He navigated a 2-minute drive really quick down the field, and then he came back and he scored again. This kid has never hung his head. That's the one thing that I'll say about Trey Lance. He never once, in the beginning, he looks like he's a little bit skittish, but he continues to improve and build. That's another thing that Jimmy Garoppolo is not doing right now. Here's the context. One more context with it. Mm-hmm. Jimmy Garoppolo is getting one drive every single game, so it's hard to gauge. But at the same time, a 21-year-old kid is coming in here and making things happen with his legs. He had drops in the Chiefs game. He dealt with some growing pains. But the kid bounces back and makes plays out of nothing. And that's something Jimmy Garoppolo cannot do. And that's no slight to him in any way.
Well put. Food for thought. If the D-line is as solid and talented as advertised, should we be surprised that Banks, Brunskill, and even Mack have been working? Mack's been playing better recently in the one-on-ones, which is always tough for centers. The only thing is we haven't seen these D-line guys dominate in preseason, which makes me wonder if the fact that they're dominating these guys, is bad. So it's definitely a good point, Sean. But
no, it is.
Keep in mind what you're seeing in preseason too.
It is, but Brunskill sometimes, it's concerning because he's been there for so long, and they kind of had him as the fallback option. Like the idea was probably to get Banks in there right away, with the idea of, hey, if Banks struggles, we can give him time and go right back to Brunskill. Okay, now Banks hurt and he struggled. Now you got to go to Brunskill and he's struggling. Right guard comes a complete question mark.
Yeah. Darnay says, oh my bad. Darnay says should have drafted Quinn Miners. When did he go?
NDSU?
I know, but when did he go? I don't remember.
Third round?
I forget. Thomas says Kittle goes ice cold when asked about Lance. What the hell happened in Vegas?
I think he's protecting his boy. He's just tired of the questions, and he's protecting his boy. That's really his guy, honestly. And that, no slight at him or anything like that, but I think that's what it is.
They grew up together in a sense.
And Kittle knows in his heart. He knows for sure. That's why he
CJ Beathard was his boy too. It's business, baby. Sorry,
snubbed
George.
For QB1 in Jacksonville.
Yeah, he got snubbed. Outrageous. CJ, I'm on your side. I always dog CJ when he was here, but I got to give him credit. He's definitely better than Nate Sudfeld. So salute, dog. You should. I don't know why. I think the thing that's so funny about Kyle is he was so ready to die on that hill, on the CJ Beathard is good hill. And then at the very end, he dumped him. And now he's okay. It's like, dude, you almost had it. You just had to hold on for year 5. Year 5 was the magic number. Anyway, sorry, no credit. He left. Willie says Urban Meyer gets all the credit. Compare McGlinchey's play against our D-line versus him during the last 2 preseason games against other players. He did look better in the preseason game. That's fair.
That's what I'm saying. So in reps, that's fine. I understand that because we were there for camp. I watched so many of his reps, and I get that. But in the games, he looks pretty good, man. That's why I'm waiting. I'm gonna wait to see what happens in the season.
That's fair. Tutu says, how did Nick Bosa look? The 2 days he practiced this year, he looked fantastic. He looks fresh.
But I think Again, though, just get him to week 1, man. I don't care about those reps with Nick Bosa. Just get to week 1 and just rush the quarterback, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially for a team that's had injury problems. What's the latest on Jay Hurd? Will he make the cut? I don't know. I think he tried to come in at the deadline and try to show something. So he's going to need to do something against this Raider team and stay healthy.
He needs to do what he did against the Cowboys against this Raiders team in any way to be considered. And if he doesn't play, he's done. Cut him. Get him out of here.
For sure. Are we ignoring the rest of Jimmy Garoppolo's long drive against LA? Throwing deep is cool, but a large percent of quarterback plays are 5 to 15 yards. That's where Trey struggles most right now. Well, that's why they're both going to be playing week 1, baby.
Again, Jimmy Garoppolo still had problems. So here's the thing. Being under duress and throwing high is one thing. clean pockets and wide open guys that you should be hitting on the numbers. I don't care what you think about whether Brandon Ayuk should have caught that pass. That was you need to put that on the numbers. You need to put that on the numbers. You make too much money. You are a quarterback for 8 years for you to still be throwing that over the top. Stop. Don't blame Brandon Ayuk. That should have been a better throw. Come on.
That was a bad throw. Yeah. Jody says we often hail the running game as superior based on what you've been reporting. Our receiver core is also solid. True. Yeah, the only question we really have on offense is the offensive line, in my opinion. The pass protection.
Right guard.
Yeah.
Right guard.
Matthew says, Jimmy is the high school sweetheart you can't break up with after senior year. Better to dump it all before school starts in September. It's not you, it's me. Yeah, you want to have a clean break before September.
Yeah, I mean, Javi's been saying rip the Band-Aid off. Yeah, I mean, look, again, what should be done and what's done is different. So don't ask me, honestly.
Did you break up with your high school girlfriend before you went to college?
I didn't have a high school girlfriend because I was a dork, and my glow up happened way later on. But then those high school girls who disrespected me tried to slide in my DMs when I got older, and I said, nah, I remember all that. Get lost. I'm the ugly duckling. That's what happened with me.
You're so handsome, though. I just wanted to say that.
Oh man, thank you. I heard that a lot when I was in LA.
That's what's up. That's not LA. That's the OC, man. That's a whole different place.
Well, no, I went to LA after that and stayed closer to the stadium.
There you go.
Right after practice. My bad. I'm sorry.
All right. Am Todd 99 says Joe Staley said all the players think James is having his best camp. He said that. All his kumbaya for an overpaid vet that is still inconsistent. That's their boy. I mean, they're trying to. I don't know. That's a nice thing for Joe to say, but he wasn't there.
Two things can be true. He can have his best camp and still underwhelm. His best camp for me, in certain times. See, here's the problem.
That's so patronizing to call that his best camp. He had 11 picks, dude.
Hey, look, I mean, I've never covered. This is my first training camp that I've ever covered, right? In multiple spots. But there's stretches where you're like, look, there it is. And then there's stretches you're just like, oh, look, there it is. What's going on? He's so.
Yeah. Bono says, who's the greatest Niner of all time on the defensive side of the ball? Ronnie Lott. He's one of the greatest defense. Not even a question.
Deion Sanders.
Well, he only played here 1 year. But yeah.
I don't care. He brought a Super Bowl over there. Yeah.
That's
there
fair.
You go. YouTube member.
Although, dude, Ronnie Lott was, I think, a Pro Bowl corner and an All-Pro safety.
And a safety. Yeah, that's fine.
Joe Summerall says, here's $2. I'm a member. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate you. Jairon says, here's $5 for no reason. I appreciate that, too. Let me get that $5. Miners went third round to Denver. Yup. That would have been... The Niners don't start drafting well until the 5th round. Everyone knows that. Jairon says, what do you think about the right side of the offensive line? We might be in trouble. My idea was to move Jalen Moore over there, but he was hurt today, too. He missed practice today, too, so I don't know.
No way. Well, I will say this. Jalen Moore played 100% of the snaps in that Chargers game.
And needed to.
And he was good.
Yeah, he was
good.
I'm not surprised. Yeah.
That's
hopefully he's not seriously injured. All right, let's move on. Biggest surprises of training camp.
I think it's still got to be Trent Sherfield. I'm blown away by this guy, honestly. For us to have expectations of straight up a special teams guy, and for him to just be running these routes and be the person who's making all these plays. Look, one more big surprise. Deebo Samuel was the best wide receiver throughout camp.
Yep.
I don't even think that's really.
And Ayuk played well. There's no knock on Ayuk.
He did play well.
Yeah.
No knock on Ayuk. Yeah. Deebo Samuel heard everything that was said all around him, and I love it. And for the fact that we all had doom and gloom, right? He left the joint practices, and you see him into the tent. You're like, oh, there goes the hammy. He played in the game. I was very surprised at Trent Sherfield and Deebo Samuel, how good he was, man. Deebo Samuel is very good, and I'm sorry that I ever said anything bad against your name. I apologize.
Okay, I got a couple more surprises, but it's not players. No season-ending injuries in training camp.
That's a huge surprise. Yes.
Good
Absolutely.
job. Now, the Niners definitely went very conservative with some of the playing time and stuff, but you had to do something, man. Especially after what happened in OTAs. They made the right adjustment. They're going to be relatively healthy when week 1 starts. That's great. For the first time in a long time. Way to go.
We still got a few practices, and we have that Raiders game. But yeah,
sorry,
wood,
I didn't mean to jinx it, but they're close. They're in the backstretch. I got one more.
Again, D Ford, all those guys, Nick Bosa, they're going to be fine. Those guys are going to be ready to go. And to hear all starters are going to be playing in this game, the Trent Williams thing was a scare. That was the thing that scared the hell out of me when you hear he's running off the field. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Relatively healthy for all impact players. Not what if, what can they do? Impact players, guys who have to immediately step in. Yep, that's probably one of the biggest surprises.
Because this team was looking like they were either cursed or incompetent. And it's like, I'm so glad they could figure this out. Because it was like an 8-year trend. Anyway, good job. Other thing, the fact that the Niners are serious about a 2-quarterback system. That's amazing to me. I mean,
wow.
I thought at a certain point they would just turn it over to Trey. And I guess it's complicated because, again, he hasn't been lights out. He's been very promising. And Jimmy's he's not like Andy Dalton. He's been here 5 years. He's won games. He has friends in the locker room. He has the people are loyal to him. It's a sensitive, delicate situation. So I don't know if it's the right call. You could say that Kyle Shanahan's wrong, but he thinks this is the best way to kind of play it down the middle. And the fact that they're really committing to it is interesting because I don't think any other team in the league is doing this.
I'm shocked that we got it right from the door with Trey Lance about him. Now, when you hear that today Trey Lance was running primarily in the red zone, I'm shocked that we got that right. Because, so here's the interesting dichotomy when it comes to this, right? And this is me just being objective straight down the middle. Jimmy Garoppolo needs reps to get in rhythm with wide receivers. And you're taking him out of the most important portion of the field. You're not helping him. You're not helping Trey, in my opinion. You're not helping either of those guys because, one, he has to come in cold off the bench, and then all of a sudden you're going to run a zone replay or something like that. And if you're really committed to Jimmy, then you would want Jimmy to get those reps in that red zone, and you want him to be. So that's the part that really kind of throws me. Taysom Hill was not drafted number 3. This is not the same situation, in my opinion, at all. Taysom Hill was somebody they found, and they thought they could use a few gadget plays. Exactly. And Drew Brees was 40. Yeah. That's different. Drew Brees is 40. This is your starter who you went to the Super Bowl with, and now you're telling him the number 3 pick is going to be on the field. Even when the 49ers ran this with Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick was a, 3rd-round pick? This isn't investing everything just to have Trey Lance on the field. No. So this is it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. It's going to be great for the content. But I am worried that neither of them are going to be able to get into any sort of rhythm. That's really going to be my issue more than anything.
I mean, that's generally what has happened throughout the history of teams trying to go with 2 quarterbacks, and it's why no teams do this. So I think when we came into the offseason, we were all kind of like expecting that the Niners would make a choice. That either Trey wouldn't look ready and Jimmy would look good and they would go with Jimmy and just slow play Trey, or Trey would look good and they would go with Trey. I don't think anyone expected that they would do both, but as a content creator, God love you, Kyle. Thank you.
Oh my God, this is going to be so lit. I'm so happy. This is going to be great. I can't wait.
Absolutely. So that's definitely I didn't see this coming at all. I thought they would have a quarterback competition. Like, nah, man, we just want both. All right, well, God love you, man. Yeah, both. Why would? And I asked Mike McDaniel, I was like, what is the benefit? I was like, most teams don't do this. What is the benefit? He was like, well, we have two. Most teams don't have 2 starting quarterbacks. I was like, yeah, you don't need it.
Well, all right. So let me play devil's advocate towards this, right? So let's say you're a defensive person and you have to try to game plan like throughout the week. You're game planning for Jimmy Garoppolo. But what if you get a steady dose of Trey Lance and you didn't game plan for that at all? So I guess I see that portion of it. Not that I agree with it. That's just the way that I kind of like in my mind. I'm trying to put it together as devil's advocate.
Kev says, besides Kittle, who should we draft for fantasy? Who says you should draft Kittle? It's going to be a run-first team, baby. How about Trey Lance?
Hey, slow down. Yeah, you should definitely draft Kittle. I got Darren Waller ahead of him. But
my bad. No, this team's gonna run the ball like 65% of the time this year. Yeah. How about Trey Lance? I'm just saying.
The running game is going to be way more effective with Trey in there. But if I was telling anybody to draft anybody, don't draft Mostar, draft Sermon because he's going to be way later, and then just wait and sit back and see what happens. With Ayuk and Samuel, for a fact that they're going to manufacture touches for Samuel. So I would say Samuel over Ayuk right now, and that doesn't even mean that I believe that Deebo Samuel's better than Brandon Ayuk. That's just the way that they're going to split things up, I believe.
Jason needs to get Splash Cousin back on here.
Jordan Elliott is the biggest winner of camp, man. That's it, bro. I'm going to keep saying it so I'm blue in the face, man. Balling.
Frederick says, love you, Grant. Late as usual. Love all your content. Trey to start for the win. Hopefully. I'm trying to get that. I'm trying to win that bet with my dad. All right. Matt H says,
how much money you got to send him?
It's a $50 bottle of wine, so it's high stakes here. It's high stakes. I'm trying to win this. That's why I'm so far on Team Trey. I'm so not biased. I'm so biased. Matt H says biggest L is Kyle John once again on their second round selection. The ripple of Banks not ready to start is big. Brunskill was supposed to be the swing off. Yeah. Yep. And again, they're whiffing on those Notre Dame offensive linemen, yo.
Let's see. I don't want to call it a whiff after we've only seen him for a little while. So again, but it's not going right away. Like,
good point.
Spreadsheet
man, biggest loser in camp.
Why are y'all the way that y'all are?
The spreadsheet is the biggest winner of camp. Microsoft Excel definitely.
Why are you guys the way that you are? I swear,
man. Will says, would Trent Sherfield have had a great camp getting all his throws from Jimmy Garoppolo? Hell, would any of the wide receivers look good this camp? That's a really good point because when Jimmy throws, it's running back tight end city.
No, look, yes, he would because he's still open. So, again, it's good to go to camp with other people so you can just say, hey, listen, are you going to watch the receivers? Okay, so that doesn't mean that the guy's not getting the ball, but he's open all the time. Trent Sherfield is open against anybody, and that's why I kind of push back against that a little bit.
Trivia, name the only 5 49ers on the team to win the first 4 Super Bowls. That's a tough one. Damn. Ronnie Lott?
Only 5 49ers on the team.
Joe Montana? I don't think I can do this.
Charles Haley?
Nah, Charles Haley wasn't on the first one. Eric Wright?
Yeah.
Keith Fonhorst? Okay. I don't know.
Keep going, Grant.
I was not alive until 1988, so I should know this, but I don't. It's a good question.
And I was born in 84, and I don't start remembering stuff until 1981, so sorry, guys.
84? You're hella old, man. That's all right.
Oh, thanks, bro. I don't look it, though.
You look great, yeah. Joe says, we need a punt returner that isn't James. Who?
Simba.
Should be. He looks like a hell of a returner.
Yeah.
Kaiser Sose says, no, it's Boris Sose. It's related to Kaiser Sose's first cousin. Or maybe it's witness protection. Kaiser Sose says, what position coach was the most impressive during OTAs? Position coach. Training camp and has the most upside as a future head coach.
Can I go first?
Yeah.
Chris Kosurik. So if you heard a yell in the Bay Area from Costa Mesa, that was Chris Kosurik. Every single rep that those defensive linemen took, he's screaming at the top of his lungs. Find someone who can hype you up the way that Chris Kosurik hypes up this defensive line. He was incredible. Stand up.
Because he yells and you think he's like, oh, what a hard ass. Like, no, he's yelling the most inspirational stuff you've ever heard. Mm-hmm. You would love to have someone like that in your corner for sure. He's just a loud version of Robert Saleh. George says, here, take this $3. Thank you. Justin says, is Kinlaw better or worse than expected? That's a tough question to say.
Hard to say. I got to see when the bullets start flying.
Yeah, my take on him is that, like, the then expected thing is the first round pick. And that's why I'm hard on him. If he was a second round pick, it'd be like, I don't care. I mean, he's such a good athlete and he's huge. It doesn't matter that he's raw. But
who he's replacing.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. That's who. All right. Bubble players. Who we watching for? Who has to play well to make this team on Sunday?
I mean, obviously we said it, Richie James.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurd, I don't even know what bubble he's on at this point because he hasn't done anything.
Yeah. That's true.
I mean, Jermichael Hasty, and it's crazy because he was actually really good in the Chargers game, but the fumbling issues, and you don't know what's going to happen, right? So it's weird. The defensive line is going to have somebody who's going to be cut, and everybody's going to say, "Oh, well, whatever." But there's so many good guys on this defensive line that it's going to sacrifice one position for the other. So I mean, Richie James is the one that thinks sticks out to me the most. I think that he needs to have an amazing game on Sunday if he wants to salvage anything because Simba Webster.
I do the same thing. I always say Walker. I don't know.
Walker, right? Because Simba is kind of close. I don't know. He obviously is good in the punt game, but they were using him on jet sweeps and reverses and things like that. So they're not just using him in that way. If you watch what's happening, and they're giving Richie James every opportunity to solidify his spot, he just cannot lock it down. Richie James, Jalen Hurd, those two guys, man, you better be on the watch on Sunday because if you don't do anything on Sunday, it's curtains.
I just don't see I feel like Richie James lost his juice. He's not electric and explosive like he used to be, and Simba Webster is. So I like him. Another one, Travis Benjamin. I don't know if he really has a chance to make the team, but he might make it on the practice squad or something. Jaquiski Tartt.
No, absolutely
I know.
not.
I
I'm pushing
know.
back.
I
Absolutely
know.
not. Absolutely
I
not.
know.
I
But I
didn't
mean,
look
like,
today in
when I saw,
practice.
like, so he's trying so hard to come back from a turf toe injury. And the fact that he was practicing the last 2 days made me feel like, oh, man, like, he feels like he needs to show something. And today he
Well,
didn't make it through practice. I
yeah.
don't know if he got hurt again, but he was watching with
No.
his shoes off. So I'm just
So
wondering. I feel like he's on the bubble. I hope he makes it.
the no, I think he makes it. And I
Okay.
think that this was the plan the entire time when it comes
Okay.
to this, and that's why it was a little bit of an overreaction when it came to, oh, I don't know when he's coming back. Kyle again is the worst at like not being able to give off
Communicating.
regular quotes.
Yeah.
Like just hey, listen, he's working. We're worried about it. Listen, if it was really an issue, they would have put him on IR. I don't think that that's the issue. I think that they're taking it slow with him. I would not expect to see him Sunday, but I would expect that the timeline still hasn't changed, and it was discussed between everybody, Kyle, John, and him, that week 1 was the target date. Jaquiski Tartt, I don't think is on the bubble at all, in my opinion.
Good. I'm not saying because he's not playing well. It's just I feel like this injury he has is really serious. So I hope he comes
Well,
back.
the turf toe thing is similar to an ACL, swells up, gets if that's the problem, right? Like he was running
Right.
straight line in those practices, and that was fine. It's all about the back pedal and his
Of course.
lateral motion. So I think that they all knew that, but again, Kyle in his Kyle fashion doesn't know how to just say, hey, he's working his best to get back and everything. And I really feel like if it was a huge concern, they would have just put him on IR and
True.
just been done with it.
Fair. Good call. I mean, thanks for talking me off the ledge on that one.
Yeah.
Bono says the answer to the first 5 to win the first 4 Super Bowls. Ronnie Lott,
You got Eric
Joe
Wright?
Montana, Mike Wilson didn't get that one. Eric Wright got that one. Keena Turner.
Nice.
That's good knowledge. Hey, thank you, Bo.
Points.
That was fun. Keena.
Yep.
Shout out Keena Turner, man. He's still with the organization. Frederick Peterson says we need Demo. Hasty,
Yep.
I hope makes the team. Hurd can go. I'm done with him. I feel like that's how everyone feels.
Yeah.
He's going to
I mean,
need to
at this-
do something in this game to change people's
At
minds.
this point, man, it's like, what have you gotten from him?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't care if he was an undrafted free agent. Trust me, I wouldn't care. But a 3rd-round pick, man, and I have people that look me right in my face and say he was the better prospect than Terry McLaurin. I'm not certain where that came from. Terry McLaurin was just underutilized at Ohio State. I wouldn't say better prospect. The production was better, but he's not better than Terry McLaurin. Come on, Kyle had a good look at Terry McLaurin at the Senior Bowl, but he got tunnel vision on what he could do with Jalen Hurd because he craves that big spot so much.
Yes, he does.
So,
I mean, you could talk about maybe he's a better. I don't know, but when you talk about prospect, that's not just what you do on the field. That's your medical history. That's the whole package. And Jalen Hurd had an issue there. Anyway, we got a couple of questions to answer.
Jalen Hurt's not a social
Oh, no, we got it.
media
We got it. Hold on. Let's move on to the next one. What to watch this Sunday? I mean, obviously the game would be a good start, but like, what are the key things that you're going to be looking for in this game?
When you talk about the starters are going to play, I want to see, what do you mean by that? Does Jimmy Garoppolo get a whole quarter and a half or a whole half? Or does Trey get run with the first team O-line? It's so funny. I'm still like kind of dug in on the idea that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to start week 1. I don't think they are necessarily, and I think that in the game they're going to try to give Trey every opportunity to work behind that first team O-line. But how much did that? Like Jimmy Garoppolo needs reps too, and that's crazy. He's an 8-year veteran, and he still needs reps. This is again, everybody's like, oh well, he's been in the league this long, he shouldn't have to. No, he's only played quarterback for 35 games. He's as green as a rookie at this point, So like at certain points, he needs to get reps, and I'm just interested to see how they divide these reps up because it seemed like Trey got reps today, right, with the ones.
Yeah,
and we saw him enjoy practices get reps with the ones, and it wasn't just run plays. So the tide is shifting, and that's the part that I'm really going to be keyed in on is how many reps go to Trey, how many go to Jimmy, and what offensive line are they going to both be playing behind? Because I heard Jimmy took some reps today behind the second team today.
He did yesterday too.
Yep. Interesting, very interesting.
You nailed it. I mean, that's what to look for in terms of like what in the short term. But I think there's also a way to look at this game in the long term, and I think in the long term, what matters is Trey Lance. Okay, and not whether he's going to start week 1 or if he's better than Jimmy. That's not the issue. To me, the issue is I want to see how he improves on his weaknesses because we know Jimmy doesn't. And we know that great quarterbacks do. And it's fair for Trey Lance to have some weaknesses at 21 years old. We know what they are. We've talked about them all offseason. And they've shown up in the games. I'd like to see him take strides. I'd like to see him hold the ball not so long. Get through his progressions a little quicker. Throw the short passes with a little more touch. And I'm not saying he can't. I just would like to see a little progress because I think that would be a really big deal for the future of the franchise to show some strides.
Two things that Trey Lance has shown me. You're right. The progressions, he should get through them a little bit faster, but he's getting through the progressions. Jimmy Garoppolo
absolutely.
Absolutely. And that's what's funny about it. You're right. He does need to speed up his getting through the progressions. That Travis Benjamin touchdown, that's not in Jimmy Garoppolo's bag.
Beautiful. I like that. Let's continue on that path in this game. That's what I want.
He's learning the speed. And he's actually
he
working
can do
progressions.
He can do it. And he does seem to improve. Yes.
And he does it in practice.
Yes.
He does it in practice. I've seen it.
He did it today. What I wanted to say was he had a lot of checkdowns today that were on time and not 100 miles an hour. And it's like, if Jimmy did it, I might not think twice about it. But this is Trey's weakness. And today I thought he was on point with it. And one more thing I want to say. There are things coaches can do to aid a quarterback who's a little overamped early on. Call some screens. Call some play action dump offs. Call passes that require him to not throw as hard as he can. And just while the adrenaline is pumping full bore, get those little touch throws out of his system and let him calm down and build up to the grunt throws. That's all I'd say.
And another thing he needed to improve on was the situational stuff. And that's fine because, but he did it in joint practices. So on the far field, on the first practice, he was actually put in those drills. He actually made a bunch of short passes, spiked the ball, got a field goal ready. And then in a game, it translated at the end of the half. And this is what I'm talking about with Trey. He starts the game slowly, but then you put him in those positions right there, that situational stuff where he's been struggling. They put them down the field and he scored. So again, he's working on his weaknesses, but he's showing improvement all the way through, man. Again, the kid's doing everything right at this point. And you're right. Jimmy Garoppolo is trying to hand his job to him, but those little things, I think it's spooking Cobb. Those high throws, sometimes,
no doubt.
It's
spooking me a little bit. Not that I know he's better than Jimmy, but are you better than Justin Fields? Are you better than Mac Jones? Because that's ultimately
we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that years down the line. We're not trying to do that right now, and we're not.
No, I'm just saying I'm not saying he's not, but that's ultimately the issue. And if he can make these strides in these areas, then I'm not concerned. I love Trey Lance, and so if it doesn't happen in this game, it doesn't mean he won't make strides. But I think everyone would like to see some improvement on those specific things, the touch short throws, and for the good news for people that he did it today. So I think it can be done. Something to look for.
And he's a kid, and it's preseason games. That's another thing. So go for it.
Hey Grant, just posting to give you some dough, hoping you can lead the charge to say the dude's name correctly. Hufanga. Okay, I'm trying. My bad. I've been trying. It's hard. Hufanga. I got it. I got it now.
I with Lenore, I call him Demo because I'm tired of stumbling on his first name. So
Diamador. I like that. It's so regal. It's like a I don't know. I like it a lot. It's a great name. Diamador. Ramonski says, who has impressed you guys so far and will contribute the most?
I have two different answers.
Yeah.
Debo, right? But I have two different answers. Kyle Juszczyk is a baller. And why don't you use him?
This is why I like complain about it all year. I'm like, yo, dude, you know he's good. You pay him because he's good. He shows it every day, and then you forget about him. What is that? One-on-one. And I'm going to say this with a clear conscience.
Your favorite linebacker in the world cannot cover Kyle Juszczyk.
Nope.
Cannot.
Hey, Juszczyk is tougher to handle one-on-one than George Kittle. I'm just going to say it. George Kittle's a great player, but in terms of route running,
yo, listen. Fred Warner lined up against Kyle Juszczyk a few times in front of me, and he got worked. You guys need any more proof? There's not going to be many more linebackers that can cover him if Fred can't. So Kyle Juszczyk, I understand why you pay him. I don't understand how you use him. I really don't.
Not at all.
Come on.
Yeah, he's a weapon. He is. Frederick says, last one, pick one. We will be good with whatever. Make a pick. I don't know.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Running
Frederick,
back?
I don't know what you mean.
Running back?
Running back?
Elijah Mitchell's back, right, at practice?
He is back, and he's taking all of Hasty's reps.
He's one of my biggest surprises. Again, when we're talking about guys who get open on one-on-one, Elijah Mitchell is the best pass catching back on here, and that includes the guy that I just named. How you check needs to get more love, bro. I swear, man, I couldn't believe it. And it's good that I got to see those one-on-one reps because I always wondered why everybody was like, well, why do you guys want that? I thought that primarily what he did was in the run game, but oh my goodness, he's good at route running.
He is. Thomas says, what was up with Kyle taking a jab at you, Grant, talking about clicks after you asked him a quarterback question? Definitely a conehead. I appreciate it, man. I want the clicks.
I'm
clicks
not answering.
Gold.
Go. You got it, Grant.
I thought it was funny. No, I feel like me and Kyle have a good little rapport. He just gets defensive. He's defensive when you ask him, when you put him on the spot. I mean, I guess I could be defensive too sometimes, but I like Kyle a lot.
I noticed that too, right? You asked him, like, why wouldn't you? He's like, well, what's the benefit? I was like, oh, I was like, why?
I was like, what's the benefit of not naming a starter? He's like, well, what's the benefit of naming one? And he kept he's like, I know you want me to name one. I was like, nah, you got me all messed up. No. And I said, I like the suspense. He's like, oh, okay, because, you want the clips. I was like, yeah, damn, of course. Kev says, which Nate is better, Sudfeld or Peterman?
Oh. Sudfeld. Easy.
That's a low bar. Easy. But I get CJ's better than both, though. Shout out CJ Beathard. I'm sorry. I take it all back. Addie says, I watched highlights of the other rookie quarterbacks, and Lance is the only one who hits receivers in stride and crazy yak yards. I don't know. I like all the rookie quarterbacks so far. Justin Fields, I feel like I was way too hard on him. Mac Jones.
Oh, were you? Oh, were
no, you? I feel, dude, it took me two preseason games from Justin Fields to be like, he's going to be really good. I like him.
Oh,
I like him.
Man, but look, I'd rather Trey Lance proves me wrong than my value. Listen, I still can say this. As a 49er fan, I still am not going to root against Trey Lance. It would be remiss of myself to go back on my evaluation. And again, it also would be wrong of me to take a victory lap after 2 preseason games. So I'm not going there, but I see it. Even if he got his clock cleaned in that one play, that's fine. He's learning the speed of the game, and he probably shouldn't have said that about the game slow. That was the worst thing he probably could have said because every NFL player is going to take that, put it on the clipboard, and put a bullseye on his back. I am not going to sit here and act like I should take a victory because it's stupid after 2 preseason games, but I really like what I've seen so far, man. I really do.
Rich is a Niner for life, says Grant. Thanks for the great information. I work as a repo agent, and I look forward to listening to your videos as I drive. Keep up the great work. Thank you.
Oh, man.
Glad I could come through.
See? Nice things throughout.
Kaiser Sose's brother says, similar to the E. Sanders pickup, what impactful player do you think will be available for the Niners to trade for at the deadline or for a Super Bowl run?
But what could they send right now, right? All of their third rounders are gone, or their first rounders are gone at this point.
James Garoppolo? No.
Yeah, I guess.
They kind of need him, don't they? I don't know.
Here's one.
Who?
James Washington from the Steelers. And I understand. I've said all those nice things about Trent Sherfield. I really have. But James Washington is different.
Kind
and
of
he's
similar.
a contested catch guy. I like that. I like that a lot about him. And I think that he's miscast right now because he has a quarterback who doesn't throw the ball down the field. If you pair him with Trey Lance, I think that would be a dynamo combination.
Stone Cold Kittle says, seriously, what can Jimmy do that Trey can't?
I'll tell you.
Well, honestly, I mean, Jimmy throws with like nothing but touch. It's like comparing Barry Zito to Aroldis Chapman. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're a lot different. I mean, he can throw 84 miles an hour better than Trey Lance can at this point.
There's not much Jimmy Garoppolo can do better, if anything, at this point.
No.
His smile is
He's better. A quicker release. He has a better smile. No, Trey's got a good smile. I can't even knock him on that. It's the touch thing, and I'm not even saying that Trey can't do that. It's just all Jimmy's got at this point, man. The feathery touch.
But the thing is that Jimmy's throwing hard. You just think it's touch. All of his body weight and everything, it's all bottom, and that's how he generates all his power.
There's nothing on his throws anymore.
Right, it's not
There's
arm.
Nothing. Yeah,
it's all bottom, and that's the thing that like in 2017 and going forward, people love his quick release, but that's all because of his torque that he brings with the bottom, and that's not my thing. Rich Madrid was the person who put me onto all that, so it's just how he generates his power. And then the lack of arm strength, and then the depth of targets. It's never really anything down the field in games. In practice, he tries, but in games, he's not trying those.
Mateo comes back. I'm probably mispronouncing his name. I'm not pronouncing things well. He says, "Oops, forget to give you money." Hello, here you go. Nice try first time around, brother. It's a soft G, like in hung, not hard G like gate. Okay. Hufunga. He says soft G like hung. Hufunga. Okay. I'm trying to get it right because honestly, this guy looks like a baller. I'm not. I mean, he seems like someone I'm gonna need to.
You're gonna need to know his name.
I'm gonna need to know. He looks really good. Domain Threat says this offense craves a solid third down back like Mitchell. If he can be a pass pro, hard for Rooks. He could be what we thought we had with Jet.
Hey! We're not slandering McKinnon on this podcast. Just letting you know. No, honestly, yeah. He every time that he was in one-on-one reps, he looked like the best receiving back out of the backfield. I've been saying that the entire time. So when he was injured, it was a bummer. But Elijah Mitchell's really good, man. And from everything that I saw in those practices, he deserves to be that third down back. Absolutely.
Frederick says it was for QBs, Grant. Come on, Lance or Jimmy. Lance, have I been not expressing
not clear?
My preference?
Did the spreadsheet tell you Lance?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Lance. I mean, it seems like the most obvious thing. Ben says you there during Staley's hug. Let's interview Joe. Yeah, I filmed it. Joe's great, man. Joe bought lunch for everyone in the media room today. Joe's the best. I love Joe.
Yeah.
Domain Threat says if DeCastro is healthy, he'd be a solid pickup at right guard. Yeah, man, he went to Stanford too. That'd be great.
And it's a 1-year thing. That's no sort of commitment.
Does he want to play?
Good question.
Sign that dude. This guy says, can't we trade Kenlaw for a right guard?
If you're trading Kenlaw, it better be for the best right guard in the league. There's no way you use that pick in the first round and miss out on Tristan Wirfs to move on for him to some depth. So here we go.
I got an idea.
Go.
Why don't they move Kenlaw to right guard?
Oh.
I bet he'd be good at it. Hey, play both.
Javon Kenlaw, if you're watching this, don't pick me up and body slam me.
Two-way. Come on. People used to play two-way. I feel like he'd be a hell of a guard, man. I'm just saying. Hey, Javon, if you have one sack this year, right guard is wide open for you, man.
This man's opinions don't reflect those of my own.
Guards be getting paid these days. Daniel says, love the content, guys. Keep it up. Jason, I got to ask, as a fellow sneakerhead, I'm curious. What's your all-time favorite pair of kicks, a.k.a. Grails?
Chicago ones. Any sort of ones, that's it. You're already balling, but let's just put it out there. If you got ones, don't come to me with no mids. Those don't count. Only highs count. But yes, the Chicago ones are grailed.
I'm not a sneakerhead, but my favorite sneakers of all time are the Adidas Campuses.
You know what though? Can we quick about the beat writer drip? Because I got a chance to take a look, right? Like I was at camp at who exactly is dripping. Some guys wore the same thing every single day. Some guys wore some stuff.
Beat writers aren't a very glamorous lifestyle over here.
Hey, listen. That's for the job you want, not the one that you have. If I become a beat writer, I guarantee you we're gonna come with it every single day that we're on it. But I will give you credit. I will give you credit for being yourself. You pulled up one day in high socks and one day without them. And I was just like, look at this man. This one guy, I don't want to name names, wore the same thing every single day. Every single day. Same thing. I just couldn't believe it. I was just like, what happened? Did you pack one thing or do you or is it like you're just washing it over and over? So
that's real, man.
If I ever become a beat writer, I'm going to change the game a little bit with that. Button downs, but yeah, we're gonna throw some sauce on it with the kicks and everything. And
here's the thing about beat writers, man. Like sports writers live a very humble lifestyle with perks. You get access, you get access, but basically it's a humble lifestyle with perks. But not when you got that YouTube money, baby. I ain't trying to be modest out here. I'm trying to let people know I'm balling. You know what I'm saying?
Man, look, being humble is all cool and everything, but sometimes you gotta let people know.
Sometimes they need to know. Scott says, could Salah recruit you to New York? Please come. I don't think he can afford me, man. I don't think so.
Oh, wow.
Probably not.
Nice.
I don't think so.
Did you see, one more thing before we did. Did you see Salah in Madden? They made him look like Batista.
What? That's messed up. That's funny. Sorry, Salah. That's hilarious. Domain Thread says, Ayuk with the drop yips lately. Should we worry? Now, I hit a really good practice today. I wouldn't worry about it. It's something to monitor just because second-year wide receivers that get a bunch of good press, I always wonder because that's a sophomore slump year. But so far, he's been good. He's been good. It's just Debo's has the chip on his shoulder.
Right, and another thing is some of those some of those throws in the Chargers game, guys were leaving their feet, and they didn't. Not that they didn't have to, but how do you expect guys? I understand they're NFL receivers, but that whole put it in hands, I would love to see you with no defenders, right? We'll throw the ball up to you. You jump up and try to catch it and see if you could bring it in.
Yeah,
probably not going to happen. So again, I
he has the longest arms in the league, and he couldn't make it.
I understand that.
The longest arms in the league, and he couldn't make it happen.
Now we're talking about that Jimmy throw again. Clean pocket, wide open guy, put it on him. Completions do not equate to accuracy.
That's
I don't know who needs to hear this, but you're welcome.
The only accurate throw that Jimmy made in that game was the first one to use check. But that's enough. I don't know how I got there. Okay, last question. Predictions for the beginning of the season. Or one. Your main prediction.
49ers start 2-0. But the quarterback controversy does not die.
Okay.
Jimmy Garoppolo can be playing the entire game and it won't die. People will still ask for Trey Lance, and Trey Lance is going to be featured. When Trey Lance gets his package of plays, he's going to impress so much that you're going to say, well, look at that guy. This is completely different from him. But the 49ers will win both those games. So that's my prediction. They're going to be 2-0. That third game, that home opener, woo! If they go into that with Jimmy Garoppolo and he's not playing well, and you guys are calling for Trey Lance, and the 49ers lose the home opener with Jimmy Garoppolo, it's going to be bedlam in Santa Clara. Bedlam.
Okay, here's my prediction. Just to troll us, Kyle Shanahan will have some package on the first play of the game in week 1 where both Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo are on the field.
That's terrible.
Where they both get to start, just to troll us. That's my first prediction. My second prediction is that I mentioned it earlier. It doesn't matter who starts that game. It matters who finishes it. I think Trey Lance is going to finish that game. I think Jimmy's going to struggle. I think Trey Lance is going to get hot. I think he's going to play through the fourth quarter and win the game. And I think that means he's going to win the competition. That's going to be the end. That's going to be the nail in Jimmy's coffin.
So
my prediction is that Trey Lance, if he doesn't start week 1, he'll start week 2. That's my prediction. I like it. And I'm not saying he won't start week 1 because they might both start week 1. But he's going to finish week 1. And he's going to start week 2. That's my prediction.
Whew. I mean, as content creators, I cannot wait to see the developments.
But honestly, Kyle, if you want to drag this out until week 15, I'm cool with that too. That works.
Me too.
We can do that. Manuel, thank you for the $3. Domain says Hufunga. Spelled it wrong. Could be great. Could be the next Palomalu. Swiss Army knife with great anticipation. He's not going to be the next Palomalu because Palomalu's a Hall of Famer, but he definitely has the anticipation, and he's a Swiss Army knife.
That's my point. It's disrespectful to Palomalu, and it's unfair to Hufanga to say that over and over to him. I don't want to,
But it is cool that he's Palomalu's protege. That is pretty cool. Yeah. Manuel says, besides Tart, who do you think can be a surprise camp cut to the final 53 that no one sees coming?
Zach Kerr.
Yep.
Zach Kerr's really good.
He played well in that game against the Chargers. He hadn't done much in camp, but I was like, okay, all right, I see why they brought you in.
Zach Kerr is good. Zach Kerr is really good, and I think again the defensive line is so deep that they're going to cut people that you're going to say whatever about, but honestly, it is so deep that a lot of these guys are good, and there's going to be someone who's left out in the cold.
Yeah. Grant, don't you think Hurd should be given the Bosa treatment given his last 2 years? His potential is Metcalf level.
Nope, it is not. It is not DK Metcalf level. I'm sorry. Look, I don't want to pile on anybody else or whatever, or anything like that. And thank you for the donation. I'm not trying to single you out here, but Nick Bosa at least has 1 year of complete dominance to say that, and I have seen nothing from Jalen Hurd that would actually make me believe that DK Metcalf is in his range of outcomes. I think that's actually a little bit out there. So
we answered this one, right?
Yep.
It's Jimmy Garoppolo.
No. They're not cutting Jimmy Garoppolo.
Domain thread says Walsh always said foot ahead of the numbers. Does that mean that's where you're aiming?
Yes, I guess.
Okay, I feel it. Am Todd says Trey looks like Pedro Martinez in Madden. They really messed that up in Madden, huh? What's that about?
Yeah.
They're just lazy.
I mean, Madden's just an awful product, and we just have to wait for someone else to make a game. I'm sorry for anybody who bought that. Apologize.
I haven't bought that game since 2004 when Vic was on the cover. Is it the same game, basically?
No, it's even worse somehow, and they have better specs. Yeah, it's just terrible.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, it's 11:10 on the East Coast. It's 8:10 on the West Coast. This has been an all-time great episode of 49ers Coast to Coast. What's up?
Great. Can I say something before I go, man?
Yes.
I appreciate you. This is my first training camp that I've ever actually covered. You have a lot to do with what I've built, and I want to make sure that I give you your flowers now. You are not only a mentor, but a good friend. And that's more important than anything. And I want to say that anything that I've done now has a lot to do with you. And I appreciate you for you believing in me, sticking with me, even when people in your comments say Jason sucks, get his ass out of here. Yeah, I appreciate you for sticking with me, and you're the man. And we're gonna link either in Philly or
I know, right?
we'll finally have.
But no, real quick, what I want to say is, dude, you're a huge asset to the channel. You're great. Everyone knows it. That's why people are dapping you up in the stands, because you're a star, dude. So thank you very much for giving me your time.
Appreciate you, bro.
We have a couple more people sliding in, a couple comments at the end. Rehire Tom Sula to coach this D-line would be like Leonidas in the 300.
Everybody's going to eat. Everybody's going to eat.
Once you commit mutiny in one organization, they don't bring you back. I'm sorry. You can't do that.
Can you blame Tom Sula for getting a job that he never should have had?
No, I can't, but they all know what he did to get that job, and he ain't coming back because he could do it again. He knows Joan in payroll, man. You can't mess with someone who knows Joan. Domain says, was talking about Walsh's definition of accuracy, a foot in front of the number. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That's good. Leading the dude. All right, good call. Thank you. Two more. Would you go to the Super Bowl if the Niners go? Hell yeah, I went 2 years ago.
It's in LA. What are you talking about?
Where's it going to be this year? LA?
SoFi.
Sweet. That's cool.
Oh, yeah.
Sweet. Jason the GOAT, guest shout out East Coast.
Baby. Go Kittle. Let's go, man.
Yeah. All right, man. That's our show. Thanks, everyone, for watching. See you guys tomorrow. Peace.
Thank you, guys.